I do not want to be involved in the suffering of animals ever again. I am taking meat and dairy off the menu. So figure it out. We're going to do this.
Right.
It took 2 years to actually complete the task. The core value is compassion. It's compassion,
I like
not
that.
just
Okay.
towards animals, but towards humans and the planet as well. That is the core.
Compassion is what drives Ravi DeRossi, the owner of Overthrow Hospitality. Having started in the hospitality industry over 21 years ago, Ravi has moved his group into doing vegan restaurants centered around the East Village in New York City. Wonderful group of restaurants offering fantastic vegan food. But how do you stay true to your core values when they could jeopardize your business profits and viability? Today's guest on Designing the Business, we're exploring what it really means to build a business with purpose. I'm Risha Walden, founder of Walden Interiors and a vegan interior designer. And this show is dedicated to conversations with founders, creatives, and leaders who are building successful businesses while staying aligned with their values. We're talking about mission, integrity, growth, and the real decisions behind running a business that does good for people, animals, and the planets. Whether you're a business owner, a creative professional, or someone who believes your work should reflect who you are, you're in the right place. Let's design the business intentionally. So, Ravi, what inspired you to start your business, and how did your values, especially being vegan, play into that?
Well, I got into hospitality 21 years ago. At the time, I myself was vegan, but I did not think for a second that I could make all my businesses vegan and get away with it. This was back in 2004. So 22 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
So I did it. And I opened one. It was very successful. Then I did another one. It was very successful. And before you knew it, I had like 10 places. They were all mainly cocktail bars. So we weren't selling a ton of food. I hadn't gotten to the restaurant space yet. They were cocktail bars. So mainly alcohol places, like high-end craft cocktail bars. Like Death & Co. was the second place I ever opened, which has become this international phenomenon. They were all serving meat and dairy. I have to admit, I hated it. I hated every minute. We were very successful. I was making a ton of money, but I was miserable as a person. I knew what I was doing was wrong. I was drinking myself to sleep every night because I was just terrible. I was just hated myself. In that process, those first 10 years, my girlfriend had convinced me to adopt a dog. And mind you, I actually stopped eating meat when I was 12, and I didn't know why. I'll make this quick, but I didn't necessarily know why. Because at 12, you're just not in touch. You're not so self-aware that you know why you do what you do. But I had stopped eating meat. I had no connection to animals. I didn't have pets. Wasn't my thing. I just stopped eating meat. And between 12 and 30, I went back and forth. There was times in my life I was so poor, it was actually cheaper to just eat meat, strangely enough. But there was a time, and it was hard to get good vegetarian or vegan food. Not even good, it was hard to get anything outside of rice and whatever. So got into hospitality, was serving meat, pretty miserable. My girlfriend at the time convinced me to adopt a dog. And it never even crossed my mind to be a father to an animal. But we did it. Very quickly got a second one. And then I found a little black kitten in the sidewalk, leaving a bar at 5 o'clock in the morning, totally wasted, and found this little kitten in the sidewalk. And I thought, I can't keep this. My dogs are this is not going to be a good, but I'll take it and find a home for it and whatnot. So ended up my dogs and this cat, Bo, loved each other. So kept it. And then I got another cat and then another cat. And then they just became like the best part of my life, these animals. And it made it even harder because I had spent some time in farms and farm sanctuaries, and I knew there wasn't a difference between a pig and a dog or a cat and a cow. Like they all were sentient beings. They all had complex emotional lives, and so I got to know this even more as I was living with these animals, and they just became the best part of my life. And then in 2000 and I don't remember the year, about 12 years ago, it's like 14 or something. One of my cats, I had 4 cats and 2 dogs. One of my cats got sick and he was going to die. And the vet said, he's going to die. He's got a heart disease. It could be 2 weeks. It could be 2 months. It could be, I don't know, but it's going to happen. And I thought, and you're talking to a guy who worked 12 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's all I did was work. I had built this company. We had 15 places, I think, at the time, running this all by myself. I thought I'm going to take some time off and spend it with Simon. Simon and I, he was my only male animal, interestingly enough. And that wasn't by choice. It's just because all these were just random. These cats and dogs came along. They came into my life. We had a very interesting relationship, a very different bond than I had with all my other animals. And he would only sleep at night if he could sleep on my chest.
Oh my goodness.
So if I fell asleep on my side or my stomach, he would literally scratch at me until I rolled over on my back so he could go to sleep. So we had this very interesting, very close knit bond, and then he's going to die. And I thought, fuck, this sucks. I'd never been through this process. I'd never lost even a human being that I was that close to as I was to Simon. So I was struggling, but I took some time off work because I thought I'm going to spend it with him until he passes. And so I didn't have a TV. I hadn't had a TV in 30 years. So we just sat at home and he would just sit with me and I was reading and doing some research online and whatnot. And he would just sit there on my lap and he was struggling to breathe. And I was struggling to live. Like it was really difficult. At one point in time, it kind of felt like he was taking better care of me than I was of him, even though this is what I'm supposed to be doing, take care of him so he can die like peacefully. And then he died Christmas morning, actually, 2014. I could have the year wrong, but right around 13, 14 or 15, something like that. He died on Christmas morning. And I called everybody in my company and I said, that's it. I do not want to be involved in the suffering of animals ever again. I am taking meat and dairy off the menu. So figure it out. We're going to do this. It took 2 years to actually complete the task. Some places we just closed them and got rid of them. Some places we kept the same concept, like Mother of Pearl, which was this awesome tiki bar.
I remember.
Just became, all the food became vegan. Some places it didn't work. I had literally a wine and cheese bar where we were selling thousands of pounds of cheese every month. It was like wine, cheese, chocolate, and fondue. And that's what we did. Couldn't make that vegan and make it good. Now we have vegan fondue on our menu. That's amazing. But it took us a while. It took us a while to figure out how to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So we closed the Bourgeois Pig, it was called, and turned it into Ladybird. So we did this over the next 2 years with all of our places. And within 18 months to 24 months, the entire company became vegan.
Wow.
And that's where we are now. I mean, then that was 10 years ago, and now we're here.
And you haven't looked back.
I have not looked back. Did I answer the question? I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
how did I get into this?
How did you get into this? And there is a deeper mission with your business beyond making money.
Oh yeah, for sure. I thought I was going to go bankrupt. It was never about money. Fortunately, at the time, I didn't have any partners. I didn't have any investors outside of Death & Co. Death & Co. I had partners, but everything else was just me. And I had funded it, like one place made money to fund it. So I didn't have partners. I didn't have investors. So I could just do whatever I wanted. So I really thought I'm going to do this, but I don't care if I go bankrupt. I'll figure it out. I was never meant to be in hospitality anyway. So if this doesn't work, I'll go back to being an artist, or I'll go back to doing something else. So yeah, sorry, say the question?
So the deeper mission beyond making money, there is more deeper mission in business.
There is. Animal rights is very important to me. And also during that period of time, which took about 3 months while Simon was dying, that's when I started doing a lot of research into factory farming and found out about how much damage, like I was aware of climate change and everything. I didn't, and I knew, like I had read an article that I think it was like the New York Times that was talking about restaurants and the amount of waste a restaurant puts out compared to the average human being. It was like 1,000 plus depending on how many seats you had. And I thought, wow. So I had 15 places. I'm doing a minimum of 15,000 times more damage to this environment than the average person who doesn't own restaurants. That sucks. So I didn't want to be that anymore. Realizing that factory farming, meat agriculture was one of the leading causes of climate change, global warming, and waste, and the toxic runoffs and the dead sea zones and all these different things, I thought, well, that's cool. So now if I take meat and dairy off the menu, not only am I saving thousands and thousands of animals, I am also getting closer to carbon neutral in my company. Yeah. So it became a doubly impactful in that stretch. And also for the health. And I'm not necessarily, like that's all cool and good and well, and not necessarily as concerned about that as I am. That's like the third reason why anybody eats vegan. It's like animal rights, health, sustainable reasons, health is it's a good sort of amenity.
I think it is a good amenity. I actually believe that most people start by, like myself, I started with health.
Yeah.
Like that's why I did it, but boom, quickly, like it became about so many other things.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure your business stays aligned with your ethics? As you've grown and evolved. I remember Avant-Garde was first.
Avant-Garde was
Yeah,
the
my
first.
favorite, the best ever. It still is. Of course,
Great.
you've got so many more.
Yeah. Have you been to all of them? Not all of them.
Absolutely.
You've been to all of them?
All of them.
All of them. Oh,
Yeah, when
wonderful.
I come to the city, that's
Great.
I'm going to eat at a vegan place. Absolutely. Yeah, this is my number one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, the question was,
how
how do we stay aligned?
Stay aligned with your ethics as you grow and evolve.
I mean, there's only two of us that run this company, Drew, so we don't, it's not very difficult. It's me and Drew. We both are very aligned in our ethical thinking. It's nobody could do anything without running it by me.
Right.
So it's fairly simple.
So that's good.
But, we also have developed core values, right? So when we've created Overthrow Hospitality, we developed core values that are aligned with our mission. And those core values are like, if you come to work for this company, you have to memorize and live by these core values. And we constantly remind our managers and our chefs to every time they have a decision that they need to make. If they come to me with a question about, I am struggling, I don't know what to do here, I just say, go back to your core values. Go back to our core values, the ones of Overthrow Hospitality. Make sure they align with the decision, right? They will guide you to the answer. If you still can't figure it out, come back to me and we'll figure it out. But I like to empower our managers or people in leadership positions to make these decisions themselves, important decisions, as long as they stay guided by our core values.
Right. So you're keeping everyone aligned.
Yeah.
Which is, you want everybody to, be part of that.
Yeah. And if you join this company and you don't inherently believe in our core values, you're not going to last.
Right.
You're going to be, after 6 months, you're going to be like, this company just isn't for me. So what we found is that the people that stay with us the longest are the people that also have they don't have to be 100% aligned, but similar core values. They stay with us the longest because they get more of a sense of fulfillment in their own personal life by working for a company that is hopefully doing better.
Yeah. So does that include then, besides your core values, and one of them would probably be vegan for the animals, right? Does that mean that everybody who comes and works with you? It's not
interesting, but it's not vegan for the animals. Like that isn't the core value.
Right.
The core value is compassion. It's compassion, not just towards animals, but towards humans and the planet as well. That is the core. That's how we've defined that core value.
Okay. So you don't necessarily have to be vegan to work with you.
You do not. No, we have a lot of non-vegan people that work here.
Yeah. So, and this is kind of true what's going on, because we were on I was on your call yesterday, and it's like where you're staying true to your values that have challenged you professionally, right? We've seen this challenge in the marketplace. Maybe you could talk about that a bit, but how is it going to ultimately strengthen your business, or how is it?
So right now, the vegan dining scene in this country is, I don't want to say collapsing, but it is shrinking pretty dramatically. Right? Vegan restaurants are closing right and left, the bigger ones are filing for bankruptcy. The big companies like Beyond Meat, they almost filed for bankruptcy recently. They restructured, they got an influx of capital, but it's just all in debt now. So, and you're just seeing, so everybody's sort of pivoting and trying to figure out how do we solve these problems? Like, what do we do here? 11 Madison Park, as we've all read about, one of the most famous restaurants in the world, went completely vegan in 2020, has 6 months ago decided, if we want to survive, we're going to put meat and dairy back on our menu.
That's right.
Which is unfortunate because, it's a very impactful decision that Daniel made over there that he's had to sort of go back on. For us, we've seen a decline in several of our sales just over the past year. Some of our restaurants have declined by 50%. We had restaurants that 2 years ago had a line out the door that we were thinking about expanding. Now they're barely staying in business. I've never seen anything like this.
Wow.
Like so quickly. And I have a lot of theories about why this is happening, and everybody has their own. I think it's a little bit of a lot of different reasons why this is happening, but it's happening. In fact, we can say that definitively there's a massive decline in vegan dining and vegan food sales. So what we've decided to do, we have one restaurant specifically. We have a few that are doing very well still and a few that aren't. What we're going to do is scale back because we're at a point now where we're cannibalizing each other a little bit.
Right.
So we're going to scale back our company, but we're going to take one, which is Soda Club. It's our most successful concept. We've got a Michelin star several years in a row. It continues to have a line out the door, even in this economy where that is declining. And the economy, when I say the vegan space is declining, hospitality in general is declining. This always happens in a bad economy. Vegan is just a secondary sort of negative that is also, those restaurants are doing worse than regular restaurants, even though they're doing bad. So what we're going to do is we've started researching second and third tier markets where there is no, or a lot less competition. Right. Here in New York City, when I opened my first vegan restaurant, there was only a few, 3 or 4 vegan restaurants. Like I don't think there was that many, right?
Yeah.
There was like Blossom, Dirt Candy, which is vegetarian, Caravan. Yeah. There was a couple others, but nothing like great, nothing that had achieved commercial and critical success. And by commercial success, I mean, it was very busy. Like Caravan Jeans was doing really well at commercial, but it didn't have critical success in that the New York Times didn't come in and write about them. Right. You didn't have non-vegan critics writing about these places going, oh my God, I don't care that it's vegan. It's just amazing. It just wasn't a thing back then.
Right. So with the dining experience right now, which is like for vegan dining, it's really hit.
It's hit the vegan dining more so than it has.
And so now you're scaling back.
Yes. So we're scaling back. We're closing some of these places here in New York, looking for second and third tier markets where there is a lot less competition. And we're going to take that one concept that we have, which is Soda Club, which is our most successful, the one that's garnered the Michelin star several years in a row. We're going to expand that concept into several new markets. So we've already found a space in Denver. We'll be starting construction in Denver next month. We expect to be open by the summer. And then our next location after that is Austin. We haven't signed a deal there yet, but I'm looking. I found a few spaces. I'll be heading there next month to hopefully sign a deal and get a restaurant open there. And then after that, we're looking at cities like Nashville, Asheville, San Diego, Santa Barbara, some of these second and third tiers. Like we have a very strict criteria for what we're looking for, like minimum population, minimum median income, universities, because it's the younger people that seem to care a lot more about this than the older people. So yeah, we've got sort of strict guidelines for what we're looking to do as we expand, but that is the intention.
So in that conversation, you're talking about being commercially more mainstream with the Soda Club, right? And one thing that appealed to me about your line of restaurants, and at that time when I became vegan, why I was so interested, because when I walked in, it wasn't like, this is a vegan restaurant. Like it was, as an interior designer, the ambiance is so important to me. I wanted to feel like it was an
experience.
It was an experience. There's I was going out, I'm spending money. I wanted to enjoy that part of the experience. And the food was fabulous. Not because it was vegan, because it was just fabulous food. And so at the end of the day, I was like, wow. And it's vegan? What the?
Yeah, and you get great service, and you get great cocktails and great wine.
It was like everything.
That was sort of the idea, right? I had all these really cool, for lack of a better word, cocktail bars and this cool kid sort of reputation. And then I got into the vegan space, which was not cool at all, because you had Caravan of Dreams and you had these places that you walked into and you're like, yeah, I'm in a vegan restaurant. It smells like a vegan restaurant.
Yeah, it looks like a vegan restaurant.
And we sort of took our reputation as being these, I hate using the word because I feel like I'm the least cool person in the world these days.
They were cool.
But we created what were these cool atmospheres.
They were. It is.
And we created these cool experiences. And I think of every part of this industry, because I've done every part of it at this point. Like there was a time when I've done everything from dishwashing to managing to working in the kitchens. I think the thing that I am best at and my favorite part about it at this time, and what I spend a good deal of my time doing, is I can make chefs great. And I know that sounds arrogant, but I don't like working with veteran chefs. Like they come in with their attitude, but chefs have this thing about them, this sort of douchebaggy sort of sorry for my language.
It's okay.
But it's,
we don't have
like
the chefs
this ego. I think anytime you're an artist or creator, there's a certain level of ego comes with it, and it becomes difficult to work with. And when you're working with veteran chefs, and I have, it's difficult. So what we do now is we sort of find the younger, and by younger, I don't mean in age, I mean less experienced. As long as you have passion for cooking and know how to use a knife, like we can make you a great vegan chef.
Yeah.
Like hands down. We have taken kids straight out of culinary school and got them James Beard nominations and Michelin star nominations. And, like Shannari Freeman at Cadence had never worked in a kitchen a day in her life. She had just done culinary school, and she worked at one of my restaurants as an assistant manager. But she had finished culinary school, and we asked her if she was interested in being a chef. And she said yes. And we spent a year working with her before opening Cadence on that menu. So we've done that with several different chefs, and it's something we're very good at.
Oh, yeah, the food is great. The atmosphere is great. So I guess what is the biggest misconception people have about vegan businesses or vegan dining or ethical,
The biggest misconception, I mean, I think the biggest misconception is that you just can't do it and make money at it, right? Or that it's not going to be satisfying, or you're not going to get the same, you're not going to get that balance of salt, heat, fat, and acid, and you're just not going to feel satiated the way you do when you eat a steak or something like that. And that you can't just live by your morals and ethics. Like, I think if everybody did a little bit of that in their business, this world would be a very different place. Like, people feel like if you want to make real money, you have to sell your soul in order to do that. You have to sell out, and that's just so not true.
And so, what mistake do you see your clients or customers making when trying to make more ethical choices, more conscious?
What mistakes do they? I don't know. I don't know.
Are you finding like your clients that are coming in, are they all vegan?
No, interestingly enough, the majority of our clients are non-vegan, which is what I feel gives us the ability to expand. It's given us because if I was catering only to vegan people, we'd be out of business right now. There's not enough vegan people. Vegan people are going to come to our restaurants no matter what.
Right.
But we actually did an informal study 2 years in a row, once at 23 and once at 24, where we gave 1,000 people that were dining with us a incentive to fill out these questions, and found that on average 85% of them were not vegan. So I imagine that still continues today. So at Soda Club, you would be so surprised by this. It boggles my mind. The majority of the people that come in there, when they walk in the door, don't even know we're vegan. They're just coming in there because they heard the food was amazing. And then they eat. And then the amount of times that during a meal, people will be like, what? I just noticed there was no meat on the menu. You guys a vegetarian restaurant? And we're like, no, we're actually vegan. And they're just like, holy shit. Because they had some creamy truffle sauce or whatever it was. And they're just like blown away. They had no idea when they walked in the door. And even halfway through the meal, they didn't realize. And then it finally dawns upon them. And they're like, wow, this is pretty incredible. The amount of reviews, if you were to go read the amount of reviews like Yelp and Google and whatnot for all of our company, there's thousands of them that literally say, I'm not vegan, but I'm not vegan, but I had no idea this place was vegan, but like literally thousands of reviews that say that.
I love that. Well, I mean, that's what attracted me to your restaurant group, was because it didn't scream vegan.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was walking into a vegan place. I mean, not that it's bad.
It's not, but it's not unnecessary.
Right.
Which is good food and cool places and great wine and great cocktails.
Right. And great atmosphere. So what do you believe needs to change in your industry for it to like truly align with more conscious, values-driven leadership?
What needs to change in our industry?
Yeah,
I mean,
like the hospitality.
I mean, I think people need to align themselves. It's like Daniel Hume, and I hate to use his as an example, but he's just the biggest example in the world. He cares deeply about sustainability, very deeply, but he was going to go out of business if he kept caring about sustainability. So he's literally had to sell his soul. That's a bit extreme, but you know what I mean? He's had to go back on his values and morals. I think if everybody just approached business, it's hard to say. Like, I don't want to be so judgy and judgmental and put myself on a pedestal, because I don't feel that way, right? It's obviously hurting us now by doing that.
But it's also the experience that you have had in creating the business, your businesses before that weren't vegan, and having to live through that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what that is, which is why you're here today doing vegan hospitality.
Yes. Yeah. But I hate talking about other people and what should they do. For me to tell them what they should do, everybody knows what they should do. Whether they do it or not is a whole nother story. And I think it's just if people would just be guided by what they know is right and what they know is wrong, we'd be in a totally different world. I think it's like we said earlier, like I think people believe that they have to sell a part of themselves in order to make real money. And I just don't think that's true.
Why do you think, is there just not enough vegans that would able to keep your restaurants in business, or is it that the vegans are just not going out to eat? And
No,
or is it
there's definitely not enough vegans.
there's not enough vegans?
No, there's not enough vegans. Like the vegans will come to us. And they do. And
Right.
they love our restaurants. There's just not enough of them. It's only 1%, 1 to 2%.
I thought there was 4% vegans.
Vegetarian. It's like 1 to 2% vegans and then 5% vegetarian.
Okay.
Something like that.
So it's like
I don't know.
125 million
I
people.
feel like but that's not all in New York City.
No.
Right? That's in the whole
Unfortunately.
country. There's 300 million people
Right.
in the country, more than 360 million people in the country. So 1% is 3.6 million, or 2% is 7 million. 7 million people in the entire country are
Okay.
identify as vegan.
I thought the number was bigger than that.
I think it's vegetarian.
And so what do you think that is in order to continue? It's just keeping, like, doing the things that you're doing, which is like the ambiance and the food and like the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
Is that what is attracting? Like, what attracts then people to just because they've heard about it?
I think
news?
making sure. I think for us, what's been great is I talked earlier about sort of critical success and commercial success. Commercial success is just being busy, right? Critical success is actually getting food critics, non-vegan press and media attention, and not going to just all the vegan influencers to get them to come in, but going to the non-vegan foodie influencers and getting them to come in. They will spread the word in that non-vegan community. So we've been fortunate in that we've been written up by the New York Times many times. We've been nominated for several James Beard Awards. We feel like to some extent this company has reached what I call, or my partner coined this, like escape velocity from the vegan trend. Like, we're no longer considered just a great hospitality group. We're no longer just a great vegan hospitality group. Right. We're a great hospitality group. And I think we're recognized for that.
Yeah.
I hope.
So are you currently working on anything personally or professionally to become a better leader or business owner?
Well, a couple things, yes. So outside of this hospitality, which we talked about, which we're expanding, scaling back here so that we can focus on expanding into new markets. Outside of this, I also run a nonprofit organization called BEAST. It stands for Benefits to End Animal Suffering Today. I started it many years ago. Even before my company was vegan, I had this because I wanted to do more. What BEAST was initially, the idea behind it was that I'm too busy to go help animals, right? I just work all day, every day. I don't have time to go and volunteer at a shelter or wherever it is. But I have these really cool spaces. I know a lot of really cool people and celebrities and wealthy people let me throw BEAST parties, charge people a fortune to come to them. And then each party we will partner with a different organization that is on the ground doing cool shit for animals, and we'll give them all the money. So I started this like 12 or 13 years ago, and we would throw events. We partnered with PETA, and we partnered with Mercy for Animals, and we partnered with Sea Shepherd, and we partnered with Beagle Freedom Project. And I probably over the course of, I don't know how many years, raised a few $1 million that we've given to organizations that are on the ground. We stopped when COVID hit, and we haven't got back to doing more things with BEAST since COVID. So we haven't sort of brought BEAST back again.
Right.
But since we've restructured this company and I brought in some partners to help me run it, because before it was just me. Pre-COVID, it was just me running this company, and I was doing everything. And I had to work 7 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day. And that was just what I did. Now I have a lot more time. So I'm thinking about BEAST again. And what I'm going to do with BEAST is, instead of it being strictly a fundraising vehicle, I'm actually going to build a farm sanctuary. So I'm looking at properties in Connecticut and the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
And I'm going to set it up. So the ideal situation is just like, for example, the space I'm looking at right now it's a 27-acre farm. It used to be an equestrian, horse stables. So it's got 2 houses. It's got a 20,000 square foot horse stables. We're going to fence the entire property in. And we haven't made an offer on it. We're still in talks right now. We're going to fence the entire property in. We're going to turn the horse stables. We're going to heat them and air condition them and turn them into essentially like a big house for animals to live in. And we're going to take all the old dogs and cats out of shelters, the ones that are going to die in the shelters, and they're going to come live with us, and they're going to live free. So there'll be volunteers that feed you and take care of you, and vet care and medical care and all that sort of stuff, but they're going to live free on this property. So the property we're looking at can legally, like my architect and my lawyer sort of helping me figure this all out, how to structure this. Because it's zoned agriculture, it's farm, we can have up to 1,000 legally. Probably get away with more, but we can have up to 1,000 animals living on this property at one time. So then we'll have volunteers, people that can come live with us. Eventually, the idea would be to have a little bed and breakfast on this property and then a restaurant on this property, or simultaneously do that. That would be down the road because it's costly. But
Yeah, sure.
then people from New York City, because it'll be within 2 hours from
Right.
here, so that I'll live there, but I'll spend my time between New York and there. People can come stay the weekend with us, stay in our bed and breakfast. It'll be another source of income. But then if they can spend time with the animals, and if they want to take one home, cool. If you're like, yeah, I'm going to take this old guy home. I spent the weekend with him. He was awesome. I'm going to adopt him. And, but that's not the point of it.
Right.
The point of it is that they just get to live out the rest of their lives.
I know
free and
they're those older animals in shelters. They're there for years, 8 years, 10 years.
Yeah. So we're
going
to take as many as we can and let them live free on this property. And then I'm also working on a couple other things. I'm getting into my background before getting into hospitality. I was in the arts. I was a painter. I also did filmmaking and I studied theater. And so I'm actually getting into filmmaking too and working. I write films and I'm working on getting stuff produced and directing my first film. And all of my films have an underlying theme of animal welfare rights, even though you might watch it and it might be so. Some of them it's a lot more blatant, whereas others it's like this one I'm working on now is sort of the relationship between this autistic jazz singer who can't speak and his cat, and it's so it doesn't scream animal rights, but what does scream is eventually their relationship is like you get to real in-depth look at their relationship, and it probably hopefully moves you to say, I did not realize cats had such complex emotional lives. Maybe I'm going to go adopt a cat. If that happens to one person, great.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of other things outside. They all still within the same mission as running this hospitality group, but just things to keep me more, keep my mind active. And, because if I don't have a million things going on, if I don't have a million things going on at one time, I don't get anything done. Right. So if I have 5 things to do, I'll get none of them done. If I have 100 things to do, I'll get all of them done.
Wow.
So that's just how I operate.
So what would you tell your younger self or someone just starting out building a hospitality business or vegan business?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not get into hospitality.
Or
as much as I hate to say it.
How about vegan business? I mean, there's lots of vegan
Oh, yeah. There's lots of vegan businesses.
That aligns with them, So starting a business that aligns with their values.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would tell them. I guess it would depend on each business. I don't know what to say. If you give me a specific example, I'd probably tailor each.
So if it was hospitality, you'd be saying, don't get into it.
I would say don't get into it. Yeah. I mean, unless, if you get into it with a mindset that I'm going to make $1 million and I'm going to expand and do all this stuff like Ravi did, like, don't do it. It's not easy. And your chances of failure are very, very high. You have a better chance, like moving to Hollywood and becoming a famous actor. Like it's your chances of success in this industry are 60% of restaurants fail in the first 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
90% in the first 5 years. How many of those people and those 10% make real money? Very few of them. So if you're going to do it, don't take any debt, right? Don't take any debt because you won't be able to pay it back and it'll haunt you for the rest of your life. Open up one where you can work in it and be there all day, every day. Like, make sure you're committed and passionate about it, because if you don't absolutely love hospitality, you're gonna fucking hate it.
So where can people find you and support the work that you're doing, especially with Beasts? This is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's still Beast. That project is years away, but I'm working on it now. And so stay tuned. We have our website is up, beastny.org.
Why wouldn't people want to start donating and helping you with that project?
Yeah, we're not even set up to take donations yet. Okay. We will. We'll get there.
I know there's people out there that want to do that.
When the time comes, trust me, you'll hear about it everywhere. But we're not there yet. We've just got the website up and it's not even prepared to take donations yet. And most of this is going to be funded by me. It's not something that I was ideally eventually become something that we can fund through. But the initial, like buying the property and building it out, like I'm going to fund the majority of that myself with a couple of friends. But where can you find me? Right now, the best place is Overthrow Hospitality, overthrowhospitality.com. We're right now currently only located in the East Village, several vegan restaurants and some cocktail bars and whatnot. And very soon, by the summer, we'll be in Denver. And then hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be starting construction in Austin.
I love it. We'll put all that information below in the captions. And if you like this interview, you want to hear more about vegan businesses and aligning your mission with your business, like this video, share it, and subscribe. This is what we talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you.